CollegeFBlive, episode 3, coming at you live out in the nature. We got locked out of our library. Not locked out. We thought it was going to be open, but it was actually closed. But it's okay. Also, a few of our members are not here today. One of them is Obed. He has some family things to do. You know, it's Christmas time, New Year's Eve, and all that. So that's totally fine. Our other member, I think he was playing Fortnite way too long last night and fell asleep. I'm not really sure what's up with him. But that's fine. Things happen, and we make it happen. But we do have a special guest. We have Ryan Diamond on the podcast. He just got out of the basic training. Well, he's in basic training at the moment, but he is on break. So if you want to take it away, Ryan.
It's glad to be here, Eddie. Missed some of college football this year, but definitely been on catch up. I think it's been a very exciting year for college football. Although the playoff is back to kind of what it's been over the past few years. But I think the really important question is, after seeing some of these early bowl games, and especially the whole controversy over the 14 playoff versus the 8, we even had Nick Saban talking about it yesterday. What are your thoughts on expanding the field to 8 instead of 4?
Dang, Ryan, so you're not even going to introduce yourself, say hi to 8 people, nothing?
No, I'm good.
All right, bro. Screw it. And that's the way. So what you asked me what I think about the playoffs expanding to 8 teams?
Yeah, how do you feel about the 18 playoff versus the 4?
Well, I personally am with expanding the 8 teams. The only thing, Nick Saban is not lying when he says that other bowl games will, diminish their importance about it. But I think an 8-man playoffs will be better just because there's more chances for other teams to get in, just like UCF and all the other things like that. But at the same time, Nick Saban is not lying. You can see athletes are skipping bowl games just because the bowls don't matter that much to them. They're focused more on going out there and making money in the next level. What about you?
I'm kind of drawn between the line because you expand to 8 teams, so then what? Then we do the Power 5 conference champion automatic bid. So now we're doing it like NCAA, which I feel like takes away from the whole regular season. And then you have to figure out the whole 3 open spots. And if you did it this way, if you would have done it 8 teams this year, UCF would have snuck in, which I feel like they I don't know if they deserve a shot, but it would have been nice to see the little guy get a shot at the championship. But then I feel like you take away from the regular season because then it's just going to be if you win the conference championship, you're guaranteed. And then how do you do it if you get a 3-loss Pac-12 team ranked 15th? And they win their conference championship because then you're going to have all the controversy. I feel like the 4 teams, although it's not perfect because, that team number 5 always has a debate on why they should have been in. I feel like it doesn't make sense to go to 8 yet. I did have a problem with Nick Saban's comments, though, yesterday because he was mad about them going from 2 to 4. Well, last year, if they didn't have 4 teams, he wouldn't have snuck in and won another national title.
That is very true. I completely forgot about Alabama last year barely making it in. So that is a true statement what you're saying. Maybe it's not the right time right now to expand to 8 teams, but maybe soon, 2 years from now, maybe expand to 8 teams just because, like I said, it gives more people the chance to get in. Like you said, little guy UCF get in. We don't have all their annoying-ass fans nagging at us that they deserve to get in and all these. And see, that's the thing that we covered last, I believe it was last episode or the first episode, that I said what would happen if a Pac-12 with 3 losses champion gets into the playoffs. I don't want to see that. So I don't think we should go through, all the Power 5 champions get in. I think it should be more of, whoever are the best teams have to get in. But then that will diminish the championships for each conference, in my opinion. So it's a tricky thing to deal with, just because there's a lot of things that are at stakes. You can already see the bowl games are diminishing the importance of it. So if you take that away from, for example, the SEC championship, people live for that. That matters a lot in the South. So if you diminish that, then it won't matter. It won't matter anymore.
There'd be 3 SEC teams in the playoffs, if I'm mistaken. I don't remember where LSU fell at the end of it all.
I believe that LSU fell to, I'll tell you right in a second, I'm looking it up right now. So LSU is actually ranked 11th, so it'll only be Alabama and Georgia.
So you have Bama, Georgia on top of that, and then the other teams you'd have would be Ohio State, UCF.
Yep.
Who fell in at 7? Michigan, right?
So yeah, it will be Clemson, Notre Dame, obviously, Oklahoma. Georgia would sneak in because there's there are 8 teams. Then we have Ohio State, Michigan, and UCF. So those would be the teams that would make it in.
I find that those would be some interesting matchups because of what you get 1 versus 8. So you finally get Bama versus UCF, which UCF has been claiming for the past year. 2 and 7 would be Clemson and Michigan.
Yeah, that would be a good game too.
That would be. I think that'd be a very defensive matchup. Clemson would probably win that one just because they have the talent offensively. I feel like they'd be able to move the ball more. Let's see, then you have Notre Dame versus 6.
Which would be Ohio State.
That would be an interesting one. Just because of the way Ohio State dominated Michigan and the way early on this season Notre Dame really threw around Michigan for that whole first quarter. And defensively really made life hard for Shea Patterson in Harborough that day.
Right.
And then you get that nice 4 and 5 matchup, which would be Oklahoma and Georgia, a repeat of last year's Rose Bowl.
Exactly. And tell me how many people wouldn't want to watch that game,
I would love to watch that game, especially see Kyle Murray. See Kyle Murray take off like he has. Just the way he plays is electric. I definitely would like to see that against this Georgia defense that's been pretty stout most of the year. And I'd love to see that Georgia offense versus Oklahoma's non-existent defense and have another shootout like we had last year. And see if Lincoln Riley can actually close the deal this time. Keep his foot on the pedal like he did last year, which really cost him a chance because I was definitely wanted to see Baker Mayfield versus that Alabama defense.
Yeah, I definitely think that this is the right direction where they're heading to. 18 playoffs. Just because there's going to be, like I said, more opportunities. People will be drawn in more to watch a game like Oklahoma, Georgia, Part 2. UCF finally gets a chance versus Alabama. All the Ohio State would play who would Ohio State? Notre Dame. So it will be a lot of great matchups there, and I think it will bring a lot of money in. Huh?
So a lot of good storylines as well.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. And not only that, you don't even have to. So you're telling me that if you could play a playoff game at home, at your university, you wouldn't do that? That would be awesome if, for example, Clemson. Who would go to Clemson? Who's number 7?
Michigan. So you'd have Clemson, Death Valley.
Exactly.
Or you'd have Michigan and Death Valley.
That would be awesome. Tell me that would be great for me. For football, that would be great for all the fans. That would be great for the school because that's money coming in. It would just be awesome for it to be like a home. The first round will be at home for the higher seed, and then after that they can go to whatever other stadium they play at.
That makes sense. I feel like that also does give the number 2 team a home advantage. So you're really throwing Michigan. I mean, now you stack the deck even harder. I mean, if you're Michigan, you're going on the road to Clemson to play in a playoff game.
Hey, man.
But
if they're real about it, why not?
Well, I don't know. I'd see how that goes, and the payouts would probably be something different too, because now you're doing a home game instead of a bowl game. So I don't know how they would handle the payouts, and if it would make sense for the NCAA and for universities to do a home and home kind of thing for the playoffs.
I guess that's true. We'll see. But then we also have big news from this week. I think it was on Wednesday that Justin Herbert is coming back for his senior year with Oregon. What do you think about that?
Now, Justin Herbert coming back, I feel like shapes up Oregon's offense amazingly. Oregon's only losing 2 people to graduation, which are even subs on offense.
Right.
So that definitely brings Oregon's high-powered offense, back again. Now, they looks like this year they brought more of a physical offensive line, looking like a better running team. which, Oregon's always lacked. Now, the thing with Justin Herbert coming back is I feel like that pulls a real play in the transfer market, because you have Justin Fields and now Wimbush looking to transfer, and I felt like Oregon would have been a great prime spot for either one of them. So that actually probably lowers down the transfer market for those two quarterbacks and where they're going to be looking to go. But with Herbert coming back, I feel like I don't know if I feel like I don't understand why he's coming back. I mean, you're trending all the right directions. Matt Barkley did the same thing at USC almost a decade ago and hurt his draft stock and was never the same quarterback after that. But offensively, Oregon looks like they're set to have a big year. I mean, they already went 8-4 this year. Herbert threw 28 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, almost 3,000 yards. Offensively, they're only going to trend upwards. Let's see, they had that 7-point loss versus Utah. Had a couple close games in here. They had the blowout versus Arizona. Then you can't forget that Washington game in overtime. And then they even had Stanford against the ropes, too, in a game where they were the most physical team for almost 3.5 quarters and were beating Stanford thoroughly. And I feel like they were about ready to get over the hump, but unfortunately they didn't do it this year. But I feel like Monday they play Michigan State, which will probably be a very good bowl game. And I think Justin Herbert is only going to trend upwards, hopefully. He stays healthy, nothing happens. He'll probably be the number 1 overall pick coming out of next year's draft. Probably clear consensus going into next year.
Yeah, can't forget that the Ducks are signing a top 10 class right now. They're ranked 6th. There's still 2 months to go until signing day, but they have a very good defensive class. They have Kayvon Thibodeau, which is the number 1 or number 2 overall recruit. He's a D end, 6'4", 239. Everybody wanted him. So he looks like he's going to be a great player. They have another 4-star cornerback, Mikael Wright, 5'11", 180, inside linebacker, Mace Funa, 4-star. They stacked up on defense. They stacked up on offense. They picked up a lot of offensive weapons as well and offensive line. So I think that he saw the class coming back. The coaches, recruited him to come back for his senior year because they see that there's a potential for them to go and make the playoffs next year. And I think that's why he came back. And, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, He's still going to get drafted unless he gets hurt or, absolutely plays terrible his senior year. But I don't think that's going to happen to him. I think he's going to have a very successful 2019 season. Oregon might be heading into the college playoffs with this team right here because they're, like you said, they're only losing 2 offensive players, and those 2 offensive players were subs. They weren't even they didn't start. They barely got playing time.
I mean, Oregon opens it up to definitely have a big year next year if they can stay healthy and they're firing on all cylinders. I feel like defensively too. In a Pac-12, that's probably going to be looking a lot weaker. I mean, we saw a lot of teams struggle this year. And I don't feel like a lot of teams from the Pac-12 are going to be trending upwards. So it definitely gives Oregon a good, nice advantage going into the next season. As far as being a better, well-rounded team, they'll probably be the clear consensus favorite with Washington next year to probably win the Pac-12. I think that'll be a big year for Oregon and Herbert, which will more than likely get them into the college football playoffs, especially with the schedule that they have in the Pac-12.
Yep, for sure. And then, so that's with Oregon. That was the big news there. And then the other big news is the Clemson players that got suspended for this game coming up. Huge game versus Notre Dame, and they're suspended. The best defensive player in the defense is gone.
I'll be honest with you. The hugest part they're going to see it is the running game. With him on the field, 1.7 yards per carry. As far as teams rushing the ball, with him off the field without Dexter, they're looking about 3.4. And what does Notre Dame like to do? They love to run the ball.
Right. They're got that old school mentality.
I think Notre Dame is really going to control the offensive line. I feel like those losses are huge. I mean, Dexter Williams loves to run the ball. I mean, he's almost at 1,000 yards. I feel like this is going to open up the middle of the field, and Notre Dame's really going to, need to hammer it home with that rushing attack and try and wear down the Clemson defense. Clemson's also, as I've seen, the secondary is also not the
Yeah,
strongest ball
secondary is something that they always struggle with for some reason.
it has. And the real question is going to be if they can get that running game going, they can open up that play action and get Ian Book, you know, throwing the ball, get him on the run, get him out of the pocket, get Clemson chasing him side to side. I feel like we'll open this game up. And, you know, the line that opened up in Vegas was at 13. And I definitely think, you know, Notre Dame's feeling very disrespected. A 13-point spread, a 12-0 team. Really been hammering everybody as far as Notre Dame has been. I feel like Notre Dame's going to come out here and they're going to surprise some people. I don't know if they're going to win, but they are going to put on a show, I feel like. And they're, you know, being very being treated underneath the radar.
Yeah, I can see that as well. The thing is that their schedule is not that great on paper. You know, they don't look that great. So I don't know about Notre Dame, but it is going to help them with Dexter Lawrence out. They also have Clemson also has Braden Galloway, which is the tight end. He's out for the game, and then Zach Gilea. I don't really know how to pronounce his name, but offensive lineman, he's out as well. So I think that, like you said, Notre Dame now has a more chance to control the line of scrimmage, and if they can control that, they can possibly win. Studies have shown, games have shown that if you can control the line of scrimmage, there's more of a chance for you to win the game. And with Dexter Lawrence out of the game, I think that's a big blow to the defense. But then you also got to keep in mind that Clemson's D-line is not the main thing that we need to worry about. Clemson's D-line are 2-3 deep. I mean, they just recruit very well defense. So I think that, you know, Dabo Swinney will have them ready for the game for sure. But it's a big blow to lose somebody at that caliber.
Definitely. And I feel like they do have a good backup. Is it Hainsworth is the backup, who's playing about 20 snaps a game, who was even Dabo himself said is an NFL prospect. So they're definitely deep on the defensive line and very talented. I mean, that defensive line might be one of the most, if not the most talented, but the most talented in college football right now. You know, Notre Dame, the good thing about this Notre Dame schedule, though, is Notre Dame plays a lot of, you know, they have their ACC opponents, but they schedule 4 now a year. So you get to see a lot of common matchups now between Clemson and Notre Dame and some of that stuff. And, you know, Clemson struggled with Syracuse. You know, saw Notre Dame really run over Syracuse. Notre Dame struggled with Pitt, and Clemson destroyed Pitt in the ACC championship game. So there are some keys, you know, they can kind of compare, which, you know, gives Notre Dame an advantage here with some common opponents. But it'll be an interesting game to watch for sure.
Yeah, I think one of the other interesting things that I want to keep an eye out is how Trevor Lawrence, you know, plays in this playoff game. You know, he's a true freshman. He has, you know, he looks composed out there. He has really good stats. He has 2,606 yards. He has 24 touchdowns with only 4 interceptions. But now this is where it matters. You know, you're in the playoffs. You took your team there. Now is when you need to show out. Now is the time that you need to win this game for you to possibly face either Oklahoma or Alabama in the championship and get that dub, you know? So I want to see how he composes himself out there, because this is a whole different animal, you know, the bright lights. So we'll see. I'm definitely interested in that, but then I want to see how Notre Dame's defense can control the line of scrimmage, as well as how they can stop the running back, because Clemson's running back is a beast. He has 1,400 yards. He also has 21 touchdowns. Like, he's running that thing down their throat, everybody. So I want to see how Notre Dame can match up with that running game, the passing game, and just overall everything.
Yep, and it's going to be interesting to see how they do that. I mean, with Lawrence, I mean, he's not only is he a great thrower, he almost 3,000 yards when he only started 9 games this year. 24 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So the kid doesn't turn the ball over as a true freshman. Mm-hmm. Which is something, you know, you want to be taking advantage of a true freshman. As far as the carries go, you know, they're going to spread you out. They're going to do what, you know, Clemson does best, which is they're going to look to run the ball first, which is, you know, what they do. They might spread you out, get you 4 wide, but they'll run it. And Edmonds' space is definitely scary and dangerous. I mean, he's got 21 touchdowns, almost 1,500 yards, only 175 carries. So, I mean, that's pretty good. But Lawrence, you know, it's going to be, how does Lawrence control the game? we've seen Dabo. He's not afraid to let Lawrence play his style, and he's not. The freshman doesn't have to be eased into the game, which is something you don't see from a true freshman. This kid can go out there and sling it immediately, which I think Clemson might have the ability to do. And it's really going to be interesting if you're Notre Dame. Do you staff the box? Do you try and stop the run first? Or how do you do it? Do you stop the run but play the outside to stop Lawrence, who's also very good with his feet as a runner outside of the pocket? And then you also have to worry about those receivers. You got Higgins, who has 50 receptions, 800 yards, 10 touchdowns. So, those receivers are explosive in space, especially side to side. They get you moving. So it's really going to be, how does Notre Dame handle Clemson's offense? Do you stack the box? Do you try to play DBs? It's going to be it's definitely going to be a chess match you're going to see there.
Yeah, I definitely think this game is going to be closer than people think. Or this is what I'm going to say. The first three and a half quarters, I think that it's going to be a really close game. But I am going to go with Clemson. At the end of the day, I think they're too deep. They're going to control the line of scrimmage, even though they're missing Dexter Lawrence. But I think for 3.5 quarters, I think that is going to be a very tight game. But I still think that Clemson takes it by up to 10 to 14 points, just around there, I think.
So you think they hold the line at 13?
I think they hold it down.
I'll be honest, I'm looking at Notre Dame. The loss of Lawrence is huge. I'm not ready. It really depends on Notre Dame. If Notre Dame can control the clock and run the ball, Notre Dame's going to win the game.
Yeah, but it's like Obed said. Notre Dame hasn't done anything in the past 20 years.
Was it the past since '94? They're 0-5, 0-7 in New Year's Six bowls.
Yeah, so I don't know. I want Notre Dame to be good again. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I can't really trust them. Just because they haven't shown anything in the past bowl games that they've been into. Like you said, they're 0-6 in New Year's Six Bowl. This is a huge game. I hope that they can, put up a performance out there, but I just think Clemson is too powerful at the moment for Notre Dame to do anything.
I think it'll be a closer game, a lot closer than people expect. But I'm going to go this way. I'm calling it right now. 31-27. Clemson wins.
31-27?
31-27. And a surprisingly defensive kind of matchup. I think once we score late in this one.
Let's bring it back a little bit. Let's do a little bit. So we had a lot of bowl games that we picked out of. So let's go over the scores with that. So we recorded Friday. We had Florida International in Toledo. FIU went out there and won 35-32. I think it was a late field goal that won the game, so it was definitely very interesting to watch. Western Michigan versus BYU. I believe everybody picked BYU to win, and BYU won big with 49 versus Western Michigan. It was 18. We also went on Saturday. We had a pretty interesting game right here. I know this is the game that happened. Memphis versus Wake Forest. This was a great game. It was 37-34. Wake Forest won. I think I picked Memphis, so actually no, I think I picked Wake Forest. I don't know. At the end of these episodes, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over all of them, see who we picked, and see who had the highest, picking scores and all that, picking teams. Houston versus Army was a big surprise to me. Army destroyed Houston 70-14 with only 70 passing yards. That just showed you that Army just ran that thing down their throat. It was
definitely Army, who was ranked for the first time since the 60s this season. Definitely with that triple option starting to gain head, looked amazing. And then the big story is probably after the game with Houston is the departure of Art Briles. Headed to FSU to be the OC.
Not Art Briles, Kendall Briles.
Kendall Briles, it's his son, Art Briles. Always controversy.
When you get destroyed like that, 70-14, I would definitely resign myself.
Yeah, he resigned definitely, then left and took the Florida State job as the offensive coordinator, which will be interesting to see how that situation works over there.
We'll see. I don't know.
Offensive juggernaut's concerned.
He can definitely recruit, that's for sure. He can definitely coach offense. I just don't know what he can do with the offensive players that FSU have, just because they're gonna have the same people. The quarterback might not be there. What's his name? Francois might not be there next year. They have no quarterback in the class right now. They did get a transfer from Louisville, but offensively in the class, like we said the first 2 episodes, they have nothing coming in other than offensive guard. They did have Sam Howell. He left. So really, like, one guard is not going to fix your offense, you know? So I don't know what he's going to be able to do with that, but he can definitely recruit, so maybe he can take some of those Houston players back to FSU, and he can groom them so they could have a better offense next year and possibly, you know, make the not the playoffs, make a bowl game or something like that. But a lot of FSU fans were not happy with the hire just because of the history of Art Briles and Kendall Briles and everything that happened in Baylor. There was a lot of people that were iffy about it. So we shall see what happens. But other than that, I think, like I said, I'll say this: I'm not an FSU fan at all. I'm keep it straight with everybody. I hate FSU with a passion, thanks to Seabass. But I think this is going to be a good hire for them, just because I think he's going to be able to recruit a lot of the players from the Houston area, because he has, you know, that communication with them and everything like that for next year and the years past that. Exactly. So I just think it'll help them a lot. Personally, I think it was a good hire for them, both offensively and recruiting wise.
I'm not ready offensively to sell them. I think this team was built by Jimbo Fisher to play a certain way, which was kind of that pound it that they had with Cook and that they were probably looking to do with Akers. That under center game, leading the play action, use the shotgun effectively. And I feel like with Taggart, it wasn't they were trying to spread it out. They didn't really have an identity. The team wasn't built. Francois was coming off that ACL injury, who I feel like, you know, wasn't comfortable or ready to be put in a spread read option kind of offense. You know, he's not a prolific runner. I feel like, you know, last year when they made this hire, that they might have been looking to Blackman to kind of take over that situation, just because he's more of a true runner than Francois, but Francois definitely had the arm. So I'm a little reluctant to say it's not going to work, but looking forward to see year 2 with Willie Taggart in that offense, and maybe if they can fix some of that holes on the offensive line, maybe get the ball in space more, look to run it, between the tackles a little bit better. But we'll see. I think that's a better hire than they probably were going to get. So I definitely think recruiting-wise they'll be a lot stronger and be able to go into Texas now, maybe get some quarterbacks, a 5-star quarterback, get some of those athletes that you get out of Texas, some good defensive ends, linemen. So we'll see how they do, but definitely feel like FSU is trending upwards, which you can only really do after a 5-7 season that they had.
Yeah, for sure. You know, you can't really do much with a 5-7 season, but at the same time they're recruiting really well defensively. I think that their defense is going to be really good for the next coming up years. But if you have no offense to balance that out, you're not going to be able to win bowl. You're not going to be able to win bowl games, because you're not going to be able to get there because they have the hard side of the ACC. And if you're playing all these teams and you keep losing to them, you're not going to make it anywhere. So I think they need to balance out a little bit of the offense and defense. But at the moment, it's not looking like it's going that way. But Kendall Briles' hire does help with recruiting offensively. You know, he has recruited very well at Houston. He's gotten really good players and everything like that. So we'll see. All right, man. So now words from our sponsors. All right, let's kick it back into gear, Ryan. So we were talking about the bowl games. We saw Troy versus Buffalo. I personally went ahead and picked Buffalo. That was a mistake because I did not know that they have been 0-2. I mean, they've only been to like 2 or 3 bowl games in their whole history. And they got, they played Troy pretty tough. The game was 42-32. But I did a mistake. I should have researched on that. They have only made 2 bowl games before this one, and it showed out there. But their quarterback's really good. Their quarterback is, give me a second here, look this man up. I think he's 6'7". He's a beast. 6'7", 230 or something like that. Tyree Jackson, he had 3,100 yards, 28 touchdowns. He's on the transfer portal now, so I know there's going to be a lot of teams looking for him to, to add him. So look out for an FSU team. Look out for just any team that's Miami, for example, is looking for a quarterback. I mean, they looked completely lost last night. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But this is a quarterback that everybody needs to keep an eye out on. But I messed up picking them out there. Let's see what the next bowl game we had. We have Hawaii versus Louisiana Tech. Hawaii disappointed all of us because we all picked Hawaii. Louisiana Tech basically controlled the whole game. I think it was 21-7 in the fourth quarter, and then they still scored 10 more points. It was 31-14 at the end of the game. So that was a letdown for all of us. I thought Hawaii was finally gonna get that step in and get that bowl game. Then on Wednesday, the day after Christmas, we went ahead and had on the Quick Lane Bowl, we had Minnesota versus Georgia Tech. I don't really remember who the heck I picked, but Minnesota won it big, 34-10. Control.
And that, I feel like that's a big win. Georgia Tech obviously losing. He's retired this season, their head coach. And a lot of questions surrounding Georgia Tech now with the hire. Temple coach who used to be the Florida defense coordinator, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Geoff Collins.
Geoff Collins, that's his name.
So like we were saying, Minnesota, Georgia Tech, Ryan was stating that because they signed Geoff Collins, that's going to definitely is an interesting hire there. You can take it away, Ryan.
I think Geoff Collins, Georgia Tech, kind of puts, Georgia Tech's been one of those borderline programs. They've had a couple ACC titles, been in a couple ACC championships. I mean, they're always been kind of that borderline 8-9 win program. Definitely can run the ball with that triple option. So definitely, it's going to be interesting to see how they go moving forward, recruiting wise, as well as the staff they'll bring in to see how that looks. If they're going to keep the triple option, which I imagine they probably might be looking to move away from, which has been their staple for years. That's the only Power 5 team that really runs it. And then you have Minnesota, who I feel like is on the trend upwards this season with PJ Fleck. If you don't remember PJ Fleck, that's a guy from Western Michigan that had them playing in that New Year's Day 6 Bowl versus Wisconsin. And Minnesota's really kind of been on this trend upwards recently. They did lose to Ohio State. They did play Ohio State close, though, for a good 3 quarters. It seems that they've really learned to run the ball. I feel like he's got them trending in the right direction on a 7-6 season, and might be a team looking to step up, maybe an 8-9 win program next year. And in a couple of years, could definitely be looking to compete in their conference, and especially with the big boys like Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. They are on the weaker side, so definitely can see them in a couple of years making some big plays, get to a conference championship, being a 9-10 win program, seeing themselves ranked in the top 15. I definitely think that Minnesota's a team that a lot of people are sleeping on. PJ Fleck's one hell of a coach, and definitely has some running attack moving for Minnesota in the right direction.
Yeah, Minnesota looks pretty good out there. And then we also have to talk about the horrible game of the Cheez-It Bowl, which was California versus TCU. That was an awful game. I mean, it was horrible. I think I stopped watching it. They had 6 turnovers or 6 interceptions, and I think by the end of the game they had 8 or 9. I mean, it was a completely horrible game to watch. Not a typical California, not a typical Big 12, Pac-12 game, which is a high scoring.
These were definitely 2 teams that played defense. You had Muhlstein, and you also had Garbers. Garbers, a true freshman that kind of took over towards later in the season. You also had Muhlstein making his first career start and played against Oklahoma State last week. So these were 2 guys that were not prepared at all to be in the spotlight. And California definitely built themselves some rounds. Defense, a lot of turnovers. Was an overtime game. Wasn't something pretty to watch, but TCU gets the win. Who had to win what was the last 4 games of the season to even get into a bowl game. So maybe not the best year for Gary Patterson and TCU, who played up and down all season. Definitely didn't look like the classic TCU team, but they get the dub anyway. So a win's a win, even if it takes 9 interceptions to get one, you got it.
Hey, for sure. I mean, a win is a win at the end of the day, but it is it was just horrible to watch. Then we had It was bad. What do you think about a bowl game being canceled? I mean, we had the First Responder Bowl, Boise State versus Boston College canceled midday because of storms and everything like that. My take on it is that I feel like if a team was away for Christmas Eve, away from their family, away from eating the regular foods and everything like that, and then you go on to a bowl game and you practice your butt off to go play this team. I think that the coach. I was very disappointed with the coach's decision to go and not play the game somewhere else, or maybe another day, or play later on in the night or something like that. Because this is the players' time. This is the away from their family. Time working their butt off, everything like that, and then you go ahead and cancel a bowl game, and it's a bowl game. It's bowl season. Everybody wants to win a game, and you're over here canceling games.
I'm a little in the middle of it, because it was 7-0 Boston College with like 9 minutes or 5 minutes in the first quarter. I mean, it wasn't a bowl game that was going to matter a whole lot for either. I mean, well, maybe not matter, but it was a bowl game that didn't have major importance on both teams. Boise State was already a 10-win team, was already ranked in top 25. Boston College was probably needing to win a little bit more to get back on track. A 7-5, maybe look to get that 8-win season. As far as disappointment, I understand not rescheduling the game or maybe moving it, especially, we have a week and a half left of bowl games as far as maybe moving it to another day, picking off where you left off. I mean, it was only 7-0 in the first, or maybe just redoing the kickoff.
Exactly. It was only the first quarter. You've only played, 3 minutes. It got canceled. I mean, I feel like you could have found another day to play the game. And these bowl games do matter. You're spending your time out there with your team. You're practicing. You want to win. You get rings whenever you win a bowl game. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter
bowl game,
what
right?
bowl game
Obviously,
you win.
it's good for programs, especially programs that are looking to finish strong.
To build.
I don't know. I don't know if this one really played a major importance, though, as far as it being the Sev Pro First Responders Bowl. Definitely understand, playing on the 26th, though, being away for Christmas. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's not a big game, not a big bowl game that's going to matter to college football and in itself, so they probably just canceled it. I mean, both the teams, regardless, I imagine both got their payouts, because I don't know about any university not taking the payout, because they probably would have rescheduled that. So I imagine both universities got paid. Probably were both happy at the end of the day, walked away. Nonetheless, it didn't hurt any team's record. Neither team won anything or lost anything. So I imagine they'll just move on from what it is in the NCAA. We'll just accept it.
Yeah, I guess.
Probably.
It'll be okay, I guess, at the end of the day. But
probably be one of those weird things now where they write into the rules about if this happens.
Yeah, for sure. So we do have a couple more games to cover, and then one of these games is going to transition well to our next topic, which is going to be the UCF topic. We had the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl, which was Duke versus Temple. Duke destroyed Temple 56-27.
42 unanswered points in the second half. What a turnaround!
Right, because Temple was controlling the game, and then 42 points. That's amazing. 42 points. I mean, that quarterback looks like he's going to be a great pro quarterback. He has the size. Definitely has the stats. I mean, he threw for 423 yards.
I mean, Daniel Jones definitely looks like 6'5", 220. 4.45 speed. I mean, the kids can move. 61 completion percentage this year, almost 2,700 passing yards, 22 touchdowns. Kids definitely trending on the right way. I think, like that Herbert conversation we had earlier with him staying in, definitely probably moves Jones up to a top first-round pick, probably in that middle, early rounds. Kid can definitely play, especially Duke. Brought him all the way back. They were trailing 27-13. I mean, Duke is trending on the upwards, which, they kind of do every couple seasons. They get an 8-9 win season. They look pretty good. And yes, the kids, they're buying in down there in North Carolina. So Duke, impressive season. I feel like 8-5, especially in a harder ACC conference, might be trending upwards, looking toward 9 or 10 wins next year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that coach has shown you. The coach at Duke, I forgot his name, but he's the one that coached Peyton Manning in Tennessee. He also coached Eli Manning in Ole Miss. He's now coaching, like you said, Daniel Jones over in Duke. I feel like he's very good developing quarterbacks. So it's definitely interesting to keep that in mind over there in Duke. So definitely something to keep an eye out. But then we're gonna move on to a very surprising, horrible game to watch last night that hurt my eyes. I am not a Miami fan, but I definitely picked Miami this time. I want them to trend up again. I want the old Miami to come back, but this was not it. I mean, Wisconsin dominated that game, 35-3. Miami only put 3 points versus Wisconsin. 3, Ryan. What do you think about that?
I think you had two teams that both started out top 10 in the AP poll to start the season. Wisconsin obviously struggled losing to BYU at home. Just looked like they just haven't been themselves. Miami, after that amazing year last year, I mean, were borderline in the playoffs till they lost to Pitt late in the season. Just came out this year, and they just looked dysfunctional. Ever since that LSU game, they just have had not really an identity. And they've been playing, quarterback switcheroo all season between Rozier and Perry, and they just look lost.
Yep.
And you can see it last night. Look at the stats. Rozier 5 for 12, 46 yards, 3 interceptions, which they were just bad interceptions. I knew one of them when they were moving right, looked like they were on the run. They looked like they were about to take control. They got the ball at the 40. It was 3-14. They were moving right, third down. He just threw it right to the defensive lineman, who made a hell of a play, stepping up, covering down. Then he had Perry come in. He went 1 for 5 for 2 yards with an interception. They were combined 6 for 17, 48 yards, 4 interceptions. I mean, you're playing in a bowl game. You're going to the University of Miami. 2 quarterbacks were combined 6 for 17 for 48 yards, 4 interceptions. I mean, you can't have that.
You can't have that, Ryan. And this is the most interesting thing, is the fact that Wisconsin's quarterback didn't even do much. He went 6 for 11, 73 yards, and 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and he got 6 3 times. So he didn't do, no offense to Jack Cohn, but he didn't do much for them to win the game. But that speaks volume to our boy, the running back, who had 205 yards versus a very, very, very good defense of Miami.
And Jonathan Taylor looked like he looked like a lot of Wisconsin running backs do. Downfield, head moving, don't stop their feet, and when they get in the open field, they can electrify you. And Wisconsin just looked like they were going to play big boy football like Wisconsin does. They put on their chin strap, they run downfield at you, and it seems like Miami just was not ready front seven wise to play smash mouth football last night, and it showed when you have Jonathan Taylor running for 27 carries, 205 yards, averaging almost 8 yards a carry.
Yeah, that's crazy. Almost 8 yards a carry on a very good Miami defense. It was just very surprising to see. It was very sad to see Miami lose that way, but hopefully they can turn it around. We'll see. I don't really know what's going on down there with Mark Richt and all that. And then the final game that we picked from was the Thursday night Academy Sports Outdoors Texas Bowl. It was Baylor
What a bowl this was to itself.
It was a very good game. It was a very, very, very good game. We all picked Vandy to win with the SEC mentality. We picked wrong, obviously. It was a very good game. It was 45-38. Baylor won. The quarterback from Baylor is an absolute baller. Charlie Brewer, I mean, he threw for 384 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, 1 interceptions, and on the season he had 3,000 yards, 19 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. I mean, he's a baller. He showed it last night versus Vandy. He can run too. I think he had over 100 yards in this game rushing. 16
carries, 110 yards, and a touchdown himself.
Like, look at that. I mean, he's a baller. another quarterback coming out of Baylor. Something that we need to keep an eye on. But definitely, it was a very interesting week in bowl games. But like I said, we were going to transition to the next topic. So Temple versus Duke. So we see Temple, and Temple is in the American Athletic Conference, and they finished second overall, I believe, in their conference. I want to make sure, because I don't want to say something wrong out here, and then everybody out here come bite me and say stupid things.
They finished second in the East with UCF at 7-1 in the conference.
So what did they finish overall in the conference?
Conference, they would have been second, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
All right, so they finished second in the conference. Let's just say that. And they
second.
played.
They were second in the East, so let's see, who represented the West? I believe it was Memphis, right? In the Athletic Conference?
Yeah, it was Memphis. I played UCF in the end.
Correct.
All right, let me see. I got it right here. I want to pull it up. I don't want to say anything wrong because I know UCF fans are going to come after me saying all this stupid-ass shit that they always be saying. So, overall, we had UCF was number one overall. Obviously, they went 8-0 in the conference play, 12-0 overall. Temple was second in the East. They went 7-1. Their only loss was, I believe, to obviously UCF. And then, so
Thursday night game.
Yeah, so they literally they finished second in the AAC conference, and they played an ACC team who was ninth in the standings and got dicked down. And then UCF has the balls to come out here and say that they deserve to play in the damn playoffs and all this stupid things that they be saying, when their second best team got destroyed by the ninth best team in the freaking ACC.
I mean, they do also have the right to say that they did also play Pitt and destroyed Pittsburgh.
Bro, who is Pittsburgh?
The University of Pitt, ACC.
Okay, who is that? Who have that? Who? The only person I know from there is the dude that plays for the Rams. No, I'm just kidding. I know who Pittsburgh is. But come on now, you can't compare Pittsburgh to... Come on, bro. I just... See, that's the thing that pisses me off. The second best team.
Pittsburgh's still technically second in the ACC. And
bro,
also
Pittsburgh got dicked down by Clemson, bro.
I mean, take it as you want. But, I mean, I'm just saying. I feel like UCF there's a great storyline here that no one seems to remember. 10 years ago, when we had the BCS, there was a couple teams that were bowl busters. I don't think anyone remembers. Boise State and TCU. Especially TCU before they made that jump to play in the Big 12 when they were playing the Mountain West. I feel like UCF's kind of trended in that direction, being a 12-win program, and those teams would show up on New Year's Day's bowls and they would win. I mean, we all know the Boise State, the famous play against Oklahoma where they beat them on the Statue of Liberty. I mean, TCU as well. TCU finished fourth one year, and then played TCU and Boise State played each other one year. And a close, I believe it was 17-10. Boise State win. I'm just saying, UCF is trending in a direction where they deserve a shot.
Ryan, they went 0-12 3 years ago. 0-12.
You can go 0-12, but if you turn around and tell me you win, they go undefeated 2 seasons in a row. Are you going to deny them a shot?
Yes, because they play in the AAC, they play nobody. The best team they played was Memphis, who was 24th ranked.
I mean, I don't feel like that's right. I mean, this is a UCF team. Though I don't feel like next year they're going to be undefeated, though, with all these losses, with all these players leaving. But, I mean, if they win two New Year's Day 6 bowls, to be 2 SEC teams, 2 SEC powerhouses, and LSU and Auburn, 2 years in a row. I mean, where are they going to be trended?
Ryan, if they beat LSU, okay, they're trending up. But just because you beat an Auburn team 1 year and you were 13-0.
Last year, that Auburn team also beat Bama. I'm just saying that's
that team that also went 8-4 or 9-3.
No, was they 9-3 last year?
I don't really know because it was last year.
And then you got an LSU team who's 9-3 this year, who beat Georgia.
Okay.
Just UCF deserves a shot. Give the little guy a shot.
They don't play anybody. They literally play nobody. They think they're in a Power 6. There's no such thing as a Power 6. The second best team in your conference got destroyed by the ninth best team of another conference.
Then give them put them at 4 then. Let them play. Let them get to 4. Let them play number 1, and see how they do.
So you rather see UCF than Oklahoma?
I mean, if it were up to me this year, I could live without Notre Dame, but Notre Dame deserved their spot this year.
Exactly.
UCF,
Why?
UCF
And why did they?
May not be the 4th best team, but if you're telling me they go 12-0 this year, 13-0 this year, 13-0 last year, and then they go 13-0 next year, I mean,
if they go 39-0 in the next 3 years, then you can put them in. But they literally play nobody, Ryan. They play in the AAC. Nobody's good. I'm not gonna say nobody's good. They're not as tough as other conferences. They live in this world that they're a Power 6 conference. They're not. It's proven in the bowl games. It's proven in the overall records of the teams. And it's just, to me, look, I don't hate UCF. I think that there's like you said, there's a great story behind them. They could possibly be a very good team if they keep trending the way they're trending. But at the same time, if you don't play anybody, then you don't deserve to be in. Notre Dame played a tough schedule this year. They beat everybody they needed to play, and that they played, and they got in. So why can you follow the same trend? Why don't you just join a new conference? Schedule a team. Florida offered you a 2-for-1, and you didn't take it because you think you're a top 10 program. You're not a top 10 program. Top 10 programs don't go 0-12.
But if you look at Notre Dame's schedule, they beat Ball State by 8 points. They almost lost to Vanderbilt.
They also beat Michigan.
And they beat Pitt for 5 points. Northwestern was within 10 points of them. USC was a 7-point game. I mean, Notre Dame had some close games. I mean, most of UCF's wins are blowouts besides the 31-30 Memphis game. Which even then, if you look at that conference, is trending upwards. You had Cincinnati, who was a 10-win program. USF, we started off hot 6-0 before they lost, the last 7 now. Temple, who was another 10-win program.
Temple was not a 10-win program.
What was Temple?
They went 8-5.
Temple was an 8-win program.
East Carolina 3-9. Connecticut 1-11. Navy 3-10. Tulsa 3-9. Tulane 7-6. SMU 5-7.
I mean, they also scheduled. To their behalf, they also did schedule 3 ACC opponents.
They beat Pittsburgh. I'll give you that.
They beat Pittsburgh.
Who else did they schedule? I didn't pay attention to their schedule. So who else did they play?
They were supposed to play UNC, but it didn't happen.
Okay.
That game was canceled due to the storm, and that was it. It's only 2. I apologize.
All right.
But Memphis was trending upwards all of the season. Looked pretty dang good, like they did last season, which were ranked. I'm just saying they've moved in a trend where they deserve more respect than they're given. I don't agree with their fan base that they're this elite conference and that they're this elite program. But I would like to see them get a shot to see if they really are as good as they think they are. I mean, the only way you're going to get to shut them up is to let them play.
So if they play and then they get destroyed, then we just wasted another teams to get in there and actually show out to be a good game.
Well, I mean, maybe you wait. You give them another year, see if they can do it another year. Because if they do it another year, then you're going to be looking at a program that's, 3 years in a row. It's going to be hard to deny them after 3 years.
I mean, I'm going to look up something real quick. We're going to look at strength of schedule, something that everybody talks about. And we're going to talk about, let's see what the difference of strength of schedules are for all the top 10 teams.
Well, I mean, next year you're going to have an interesting one. They're going to be playing Stanford, and they're going to be at Pittsburgh. So, I mean, there's two big programs to start the season next year.
So you want me to tell you where UCF is at? So
bottom 50s, right?
These are the top 10 teams. Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Michigan, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Missouri, Auburn, Ohio State, and Penn State. All right, so let's find out where UCF is at, because I have no idea where they're at. Right now, I'm on the 50s. I just passed the 60s. Oh, look at them. They're number 74 overall. So you tell me a team that has a 74 ranked strength of schedule should be in over an Oklahoma or a Notre Dame or anything like that. Let me see what Notre Dame is at, because you said that it probably could get in over Notre Dame. So let me figure out what Notre Dame is at. Bring out that. Notre Dame was 27th overall in strength of schedule. How could you possibly put in a 74 over a 27?
They could do it if they wanted to. I mean, Oklahoma would be the team to go with a one loss, which would be very hard to kick them out. But I'm just saying, I mean, they can make a play for it. I would say give them one more year. If they can beat LSU, if they can go on another year and win out, then maybe you look at giving them the 4 spot.
Okay, I agree with you on that one. If they go 13-0 next year, put them in there. But
I mean, the only way you're going to shut them up is if you let them play.
That's fine. If they go 13 in a row for 3 years in a row, fine, put them in there. But the fans need to stop with all these. It's just annoying. You know, you don't play anybody, and then you get offered to play somebody, you don't want to take it.
I mean, even if they played Florida, they're not going to play next year. So, I mean, it does them no good.
You still get money, and you still get put out there. You're playing an SEC team in your house. You're playing it 2 hours away. Orlando's only 2 hours away. A lot of the UCF fans could travel up there. I mean, there's just a lot of things that UCF fans are not taking into consideration. If they want to take the next step, this is like literally money for them to take the next steps. Orlando is trending up as a city. UCF is trending up as a city. Their team is obviously trending up as a overall football program. And you're telling me that a powerhouse of – not a powerhouse, because I'm not going to say that Florida's a powerhouse because they've been down for like 10 years.
It's a blue
but
blood.
a known team.
Program that runs deep within.
What do you say?
I said it's a blue blood program.
Okay, a blue blood program offers you a 2-for-1, and you don't want to take it because you think you're a top 10 program, but you literally just went 0-12.
Well, you can't throw 0-12 in their face because for 2 seasons now in a row, they've gone 12-0. They've won the
Ryan,
AAC.
they won 0 games, my G. 0 games.
So they've turned their whole program around. You don't get to throw it in their face because they've won. They're now a top 10 program because they've won. They've had 2 undefeated seasons. I mean, looking to end the season undefeated, of course, with the win over LSU. But you're telling me if they go undefeated, and then let's look at next year's schedule. Like I said, they would be playing Pittsburgh on the road. They'd have Stanford at home. I mean, if they win those games and they run the athletic AAC again and they win it, you're telling me that this team does not deserve a chance.
Like I said, if they go 13-0 next year, sure, put them in there. But this year, they did not deserve to get in. Their fans need to stop being so dang annoying about it because they did not deserve to get in. If you have a 74th ranked strength of schedule, you don't play anybody. You cannot go over an Alabama. You cannot go over a Oklahoma. You cannot go over a 12-0 Notre Dame who played people. And you cannot go over Clemson. I just don't see them beating any of those teams. Personally, I don't see them beating any of those teams. But if they go 13-0 next year, sure, put them in there. Whatever happens after that, if they win, great for them. If they lose, you still got in there. Everybody proved you wrong. And there you go.
I don't know if UCF wins between any of those 4 teams. I think the Oklahoma one might be a shootout. Would be interesting because Oklahoma just doesn't play defense. But I think UCF, the little guy deserves a chance in there. They've obviously played well. I mean, if they can cap this season off, then I definitely think that going into the next season that they should be a top 10 program and should be looking towards the college football playoffs. Now, as far as scheduling opponents out now, I mean, it does them no good. They're not going to be playing Florida the next season. They're not going to be playing Florida probably for several seasons, so it does them no good.
But if you want to be a top 10 program, you need to build a schedule. You need to build your program over years. You don't become a powerhouse in 2 years, Ryan. So if you play,
because Bama schedules nothing but cupcakes on their out-of-conference schedule. They don't even.
Who?
Nate have never played a true away game.
Who?
He schedules neutral site games. He plays teams like Charleston Southern.
Who?
Alabama does.
Bro, yeah, and Alabama has a number 2 strength of schedule. They don't need to be worried about playing anyone else. They got enough to people to worry about.
I mean, listen, they played Louisville this season. It was a total letdown.
Who the hell's fault is that?
Who won their schedule?
Is that Alabama's fault? That Louisville's ass?
Is it UCF's fault that their conference is weak?
Hey, they can join some other conference.
They can, but they're not going to join another conference in a year.
Then. So that's their problem. If you don't get in, you don't want to change your schedule, you don't want to change your conference, that's your problem. Don't be blaming Alabama here. Alabama will ramsack the hell out of UCF, and you know dang well.
This is the same debate Notre Dame had years ago when Notre Dame was independent and they wouldn't join a conference.
Notre Dame, wait, what?
I said Notre Dame had the same issue with conferences because they weren't independent and they wouldn't join a conference. And they were getting left out of bowl games.
Notre Dame might as well just join the dang ACC. They already play everybody in there. Just join it. See, this will be a perfect place for them to look. Notre Dame joins the ACC. UCF joins the ACC. That will be perfect. There's 2 teams. Add the 2 teams to the ACC. They have great recruiting in Florida already happening. Notre Dame will finally have a conference that they can play in. It's just everything's trending for UCF to go join another conference, get more opportunities to get in, prove yourself, and there you go. I mean, if they go 13-0 next year, they get in. Why wouldn't the ACC get ACC get them in there? Or I don't know about the SEC taking them, but it's just join another conference, win your games, get into the playoffs, win your playoff games, and then you're a powerhouse. But if you go 0-12 one year, 7-3 another year, or 7-5 the next year, then you go 13-0 one year, and you think you're out here a powerhouse, that just doesn't work. Personally, to me, that does not work. But other than that, we are a little bit longer this episode. We're going to be talking about little bowl games, and then we can shut this down. So we do have today at 1:30 p.m. we have the American Mortgage Music Bowl game. We have Purdue versus Auburn. Who are you taking?
I like Purdue, and a surprising upset. I'm going to go 31-20.
You said 31-20?
31-20. Give me Purdue.
Auburn has a 3.5 line. Up and under. You know what? I'm going to go with Purdue. Just because simply of the fact that they're 6-6, but the team showed that they can be an 8-win team, or possibly 9. They have really good weapons. The wide receiver number 4, I believe, is really, really good. So we'll see. Rondell Moore, he had 1,164 yards with 12 touchdowns. So we definitely need to keep an eye on that. But I'm gonna pick Purdue. I'm gonna pick Purdue on that one. Then we have the Camping World Bowl. We have West Virginia, 16th ranked, versus 20th ranked Syracuse. West Virginia is 8-3, and Syracuse is 9-3. What do you pick?
I think this one's not even going to be close. Give me Syracuse. West Virginia with no real career. Definitely not going to be a close game. Syracuse, I feel like, will definitely run away with this one.
I'm agree with you on that one again. I pick Syracuse. And then we have the next game for the night. We have the Valero Alamo Bowl. We have 24th ranked Iowa State versus 13th ranked Washington State. I'm personally going to go with Washington State. They have explosive offense. Their defense plays well at times. They've only lost 2 games. Don't get me wrong, Iowa State is a very good team as well. They obviously have improved a lot from past years. Their quarterback is great. But I just think Washington State has a little bit more firepower to them.
I think you're looking at 2 different teams. You're looking at one team that likes to run the ball, another team that airs out in Washington State. But I think this one's going to be a lot closer than people expect. But give me Washington State. They'll put it away late. Put it away at 10 points. Give me Washington State.
It'll definitely be a close game. It'll definitely be a close game, but I'm a roll with Washington State on that one.
Definitely.
And then we have very, very big bowl games coming up tomorrow. So we're going to go and talk about that a little bit. If I can find it.
The Florida-Michigan game early off tomorrow.
12 o'clock, right?
Yeah, noon kickoff.
I need Florida, man. You know, I'm a big Florida Gator fan. I need Florida to if they want to trend in the right direction, recruiting-wise, program-wise, they need to get this W. Michigan does have some, I think 4 or 5 key players missing out from this game. So if you're Florida, take advantage of this. You have everybody returning, everybody, like coming back healthy for this game. Definitely need this game. I have Florida 30-27, very close game, late in the fourth quarter with a field goal kick.
And the way these two teams are kind of matched up, it's very similar, very even on the passing and the rushing. This is one of those games where they've met now for 2 of the last 3 seasons.
And they have destroyed Florida.
They had the Citrus Bowl destroyed on New Year's Day, 41-7, and this is really a good test for Molten because this is to see if they can get past the Matt Point era, and look if they can finally finish Michigan off. He's had a great season beating FSU. The line looks like what's the line at? It's set 6 for Michigan. I think this one will be more of a running attack, so it'll be really who controls the line of scrimmage. Patterson, former Ole Miss quarterback, definitely can sling the ball, move with his feet. I think Michigan wins this one. In an upset, I think Michigan, well, not an upset, I think Michigan wins this one in a convincing fashion. I like 20-35 Michigan.
Damn. All right. So then we have the Belt Bowl with South Carolina versus Virginia. They're both 7-5. They're both mid-pack of their conferences. Virginia definitely. I think they started off I think they were like 0-2, 0-3, but then they kicked it into gear. They went out and won 7 games, so that was very impressive. They have South Carolina with a 5.5. I'm gonna go with South Carolina just because I feel like Muschamp is going to turn around this program more, and this game is very needed to do that. So I'm going to go with South Carolina. Jake Bentley has almost 3,000 yards thrown, 27 touchdowns, but you have to take in consideration that they're kind of different teams because Virginia likes to run the ball a lot. Their running back has 920 yards with 9 touchdowns. So I'm going to go with South Carolina, and I'm going to get them 30-20.
Definitely. So I see South Carolina got Bentley, who's always hard to take with that arm. But, give me Bryce Perkins and his ability to scramble, make plays with his feet. It's been electric. 22 touchdowns last season, almost 2,500 yards throwing. I like Perkins. You also have Ellis, who's almost at the 1,000-yard mark on 190 carries.
Yeah, he's a baller.
I like Virginia in this one.
You like Virginia? All right, there we go. So then we have the next one. We have the Arizona Bowl. We have Arkansas State versus Nevada. Arkansas State ended up 8-4. Nevada was 7-5. Right now they have Nevada actually winning that game, 2 points. So it's going to be a close game. But I'm gonna go with Arkansas State personally. I know there's some people that played at over where I'm from Gainesville, Florida. There's some boys playing at Arkansas State, so I'm gonna have to represent the 352, and I'm picking Arkansas State. And a close game as well, though.
Give me Arkansas State in what will probably be a very pass-happy game. Both teams averaging above 280 yards a game. Both teams can score. Both teams' defenses are averaging around the same, about 27 points per game. So you're probably looking at a 31-28 kind of game. Give me Arkansas State.
Arkansas State, there you go. And then we have the big bowl games coming up on at night. So at 4 o'clock we have the Cotton Bowl. We have Notre Dame and Clemson. We already talked about Notre Dame and Clemson earlier, what we think about it. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick Clemson simply for the fact that they're too deep in every position. I mean, Dabo Swinney has done a really good job recruiting there. They're 13-0. Trevor Lawrence is a baller. The running attack from Clemson is really good as well. But don't look, even though I'm picking Clemson, I'm not saying that Notre Dame is not going to keep it close, but I have Clemson winning this one.
Like I said earlier, I think the 13-point line that Vegas has for Notre Dame is definitely disrespectful to Notre Dame. Without Lawrence, I feel like Notre Dame is really going to try to run the ball. Like I said earlier, I think it's a close, very close, tight game. A lot closer than Vegas picks, and I have Clemson winning it.
You have Clemson winning it? All right, cool. And we have the 8 o'clock game. We have the Orange Bowl. over in Miami, Hard Rock Stadium. We have Oklahoma, 4th ranked, versus Alabama, number 1 overall. I personally have to go with Alabama on that one. It is going to be a high-scoring game simply for the fact that Oklahoma, is very high-powered and everything like that. But I'm going to go with Alabama. Their defense is going to stop Kyler Murray. Their offense is good enough to win. The only big concern with Alabama is if Tua is not 90 to 100% with his ankle. That's the only thing that you got to keep in consideration. But I think Alabama wins this one very convincingly.
I'm going to go on the upset alert here. I think Oklahoma with Kyle Murray because, what gives Alabama that defense struggles is any quarterback that can run. And what can Kyle Murray do? That man can run. That man is electric. That man can take off in the pocket. Not only that man keeps his eyes downfield and can throw. I mean, he had 4,000 yards this season.
Yep.
With 40 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. So, he doesn't turn the ball over. He moves and he can run. Everything that Bama struggles with.
Yeah.
I feel like Tua's not going to be 100%, which gives Oklahoma a little nick there on defense. And the question is going to be, can they get after Tua? As far as that goes, it's going to be a high-scoring affair. As far as I see this going, I like Oklahoma, even though it's hard against Bama on a 14-point spread, which I think is ridiculous, which is no respect to the Heisman winner. I'm thinking 45-41, Oklahoma. It'll come down to, I feel like, whoever has the ball last.
All right. There you go. Hot take from Ryan Diamond. So we have a lot of more bowl games to go, but we're just going to do a quick one through these just because we're running out of time a little bit. But we want to cover all the bowl games. That way next episode we can talk about all of them and have a jam-packed program next week. So we have Cincinnati on Monday. Cincinnati versus Virginia Tech. Cincinnati obviously coming off a 10-win season. Virginia Tech 6-6. Kind of disappointing after that first win versus FSU. I thought they were going to be an 8-9 win team. But I'm going to go with Cincinnati on this one.
I like Cincy in a blowout.
Wow. There you go. Cincy in a blowout. We have at 2 o'clock. We have the Hyundai Sun Bowl. We have Stanford 8-4, Pittsburgh 7-6. They have Stanford with a 5 points. I'm gonna go with Stanford on this one. The quarterback is too good. The receivers are too good. So I'm gonna go with Stanford.
I like this one, and I'm actually going with Pittsburgh in a running attack game. I think it's going to be low scoring. I like Pitt.
All right, there you go. 3 o'clock, we have the Michigan State-Oregon Bowl at the Red Box Bowl. It must be a new one. I never heard of that one. But I'm going to go with Oregon. They are 8-4. Michigan State quarterback has been a little bit iffy. I know that's your boy Ryan because you guys played together and everything like that. But I'm going to go with Oregon personally just because they're trending up. Justin Herbert's coming back. I got them winning big on this one.
I think Oregon wins big. Sad to say it, as Lewerke's kind of struggled this year. Only 8 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Definitely a tough year for Lewerke. I think Oregon wins this one. Definitely in a more of a blowout fashion as far as that goes.
There you go. So at 3:45, we have the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. We have 23-ranked Missouri versus Oklahoma State, who had a 6-6 season. Oklahoma State also had that very big win in the season. But then the cover is 9 points for Missouri. I'm going to go with Missouri simply for the fact that they have a better defense than Oklahoma State. But this is going to be an absolute shootout between Missouri and Oklahoma State. Drew Lock is a beast throwing the ball, but you can't take that away from Taylor Cornelius, who had 3,600 passing yards, 28 touchdowns. But I still had to go with Missouri on that one.
I think Missouri wins in probably a 7-1 score game.
All right, so then we're going to the next game. We're going all through these games, man. So we have 7 o'clock. We have Northwestern 8-5 versus 17th ranked Utah 9-4. Who do you pick this time? You go first, man.
This is kind of a pick'em game either way. I feel like you're looking at San Diego, so I'm going to go Utah. I think Utah wins this one in convincing fashion. I mean, it is a 7-point spread, so I'll take Utah.
Take Utah? I'm going to go with the upset. I'm going to go with Northwestern on that one.
All right.
So
What do we
then,
have next? We have North Carolina State and Texas A&M. Jimbo's first game, first bowl game as head coach of Texas A&M. I think you have Finley, who's probably going to be looking at his first-round pick, and Monch, who's definitely had a good season, almost 3,000 yards. Give me Texas A&M. They got plenty of time to prepare for it. Give me Texas A&M.
Texas A&M. I'm going to go with Texas A&M on that one as well. Jimbo Fisher definitely has that program trending up. They only lost 4 games in a tough SEC West. And their offense looks like it's working really well, like you said, with Mond. He's doing really good on offense. And as a quarterback, I'm going to go with Texas A&M on that one. I think it'll be closer than people think, but definitely Texas A&M. Then we have Mississippi State and Iowa. 18th ranked Mississippi State. After the Florida loss, they kind of kicked it into gear. Then they lost a few more games, but they still managed to win 8 games. I'm actually going to go with, Iowa's playing the Outback Bowl again. They always seem to be in there. I'm going to go with Mississippi State on this one, just simply because their offense is a little bit better than Iowa's. And their defense, they have really good defensive linemen there. They have really good safeties, so I'm going to go with Mississippi State.
I like Iowa. I like Nate Stanley. I feel like future first-round quarterback Nate Stanley.
Nate Stanley for sure, yeah, for sure.
Definitely. 2,600 yards, 23 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Really the key to being Iowa stop Nick Fitzgerald. If you can really contain him in the run game, he's not really a threat as a passer, inconsistent completion-wise. So if I like Iowa in this one.
All right. So then we have the most controversial game out here. We have LSU versus UCF, PlayStation Fiesta Bowl at 1 p.m. Obviously, I already know who you're picking. So you want to tell everybody?
I will actually be in attendance for this game, and I will definitely be rooting with UCF.
All right, there you go, everybody. He joined the... Never mind, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to go with LSU. I need them to spank the hell out of UCF so they can get the hell out of there. Then we have Kentucky versus Penn State at 1 o'clock as well in the Citrus Bowl. It's 14th ranked Kentucky, 12th ranked Penn State. I'm actually going to go with Penn State on this one. Trace McSorley, 2,200 yards, 16 touchdown. Benny Snell is the catalyst for Kentucky, but I just think that if you stop Benny Snell, you stop Kentucky's offense, and Penn State has a little bit more firepower around.
Which Penn State does have that ability to stop Kentucky as far as running the ball. I like Penn State. I think that they'll be able to control Benny Snell in his running game. I like this. I think it'll be a close game. I think Kentucky will give Penn State a good game. I do like McSorley, though, in the end to pull it out for Penn State.
All right. Sorry for the audio. Like we said, we're out in the open. People are walking around. We'll try to fix this as much as we can. And then we have Washington, 6th ranked Ohio State with 9th ranked Washington. Ohio State only lost was to Purdue. They're 12-1, and Washington is 10-3.
Oh, this is a tough one because you got Haskins on one side, Browning on the other. You got J.K. Dobbins and Gaskin as far as running backs go. You have some prolific stars here that'll be playing on Sundays in this game. As far as it goes, I like Ohio State. I think Ohio State's going to be able to move the ball against Washington. Washington will probably run the ball and try to run the clock down. But in Urban's supposedly last game as Ohio State head coach, I like Ohio State to get it done. Give me 34-21.
All right. Yeah, I got Ohio State on that one. Obviously, there's just one game away from going into the playoffs. But definitely, and they want to send Urban Meyer out happy with a bowl win and everything. So I have Ohio State. I think they do it. And then we have a last bowl game out here. We have Texas, who is 15th ranked, versus 5th ranked Georgia. This is the Sugar Bowl, so definitely one to watch. We don't see these teams very often, so I'm definitely very intrigued to watch this one. But I'm gonna go with Georgia, just because Georgia's only 2 games away from going to the playoffs. They lost by one touchdown, I believe, to Alabama. They were winning the whole game, and then they lost tragically, like they did two times in a row. But definitely it's going to be closer than they have it. They have Georgia with 13 points I don't think it's going to be like that. I think Texas has a very good defense. Texas also has a very good quarterback in Sam Ehlinger with 3,100 yards, 25 touchdowns. And the Texas wide receivers had 79 receptions, 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns. So I just think it's going to be closer than it is, but I still have to take Georgia just because that defense is too good. But keep an eye out for Texas for an upset alert because their wide receivers are really good.
This is one of those games where I feel like Texas hasn't been in a game like this in a long time. Ever since that meltdown versus Alabama in that BCS championship game, it's been a while since Texas has been back on the map. I want to see how Georgia rebounds after that tough loss to Bama. I actually like Texas in this game. I think it'll be one hell of a game. I like Texas 24-21. I think Sam Ehlinger will get it done. They'll be able to move the ball. And with this type of time to really prepare for Georgia, you can really work on stopping Swift and working on getting pressure from and stop that play action that Georgia loves to do. So I like Texas coming out here. First time in a long time they'll be in a New Year's Six Bowl, giving it all they got. Definitely making that higher they got a couple years ago from Houston. Looked like that pay off for them.
All right, man. So that's all it for the bowl games. The championship game is going to be Monday, January 7th at 8 o'clock over in Santa Clara, California. So like I said, I picked Alabama and I picked Clemson to be there. So we'll see. Hopefully there are some surprises in these bowl games. We would like to, everybody likes upsets and everything like that. But other than that, there was a jam-packed program and episode this time. Sorry again for the inconvenience of people not being here. I'm just kidding. Everything, things happen and everything like that. But definitely tune in for the next episode. Thank you very much for Ryan Diamond for being here and helping me out because I don't know how I would have talked for an hour by myself. But thank you very much, Ryan. Thank you for your service because you're in the Army. And definitely we'll have you more often once you get out of basic training. Thank you, Orlando. And tune in. Follow us on Instagram, CollegeFBlive. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us everywhere. Tune in. Spread the word. We're trying to get this ramped up.
Huge thanks to all of our listeners for listening to this week's show. I just want to give a quick shout out to Owen Clark of Owen Clark Music. He did make our new intro theme for us. You can go find him on Instagram at Owen Clark Music, and he's got a link there to other projects that he's been working on. He's a really great guy, personal friend of mine. Thank you very much, Owen. We appreciate that track that you made and hope you guys enjoyed it.